Hello, guys. I would like to go ahead and start this off by saying this is going to be a bit of a story time. I know it's probably going to draw on, but I'm going to go ahead and let you know it's actually a little bit funny to me. So this will be a rage moment for me. 2 times in my life that I made the dumbest of gamer mistakes, which is throwing a controller. Now, normally I don't. I usually can stay pretty calm, except for when I play with my buddies, which that's usually me screaming at them saying they suck and they messed up, and them also saying the same to me, because it's just how we get our aggression out. But this happened way back when I was about 18 years old. Now, I didn't have a job at the time, not a real job. I was working at a barn house, just whenever they would call me. So getting money was very hard. But I saved up enough, I went ahead and bought me a PS3. And what I ended up doing is I plugged it up, bought me Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and I played it for months. Never really got too angry to the point of throwing controllers. I rarely ever actually got too mad. I don't know what happened, but eventually, I guess more and more, I started getting angry about it. So while playing one fateful night, I was super angry, super pissed. I don't know what was going on or why it was like that. But yes, I in fact made the mistake. I got up. I had been eating a bowl of cereal in between games because that's what I did as a young man. I didn't have a job yet and pretty much didn't have much to do. It was always a late night thing. I really wasn't much of a day guy. I was a night owl. And this would be the thing. I collected video games. And the reason why I'm telling you this is it's a little important. I collected all these PS2 games that were always greatest hits, $20 games. And I was trying to amass a collection because that's what I wanted, was to collect games. And this is why I never threw a controller again. Because when I threw this controller, I tried to make sure I didn't hit the wall. I didn't want to break it. And I was like, yeah, these controllers at $50, $60 are just too much. It bounced off the mattress and landed in my bowl of cereal. Needless to say, that was a really bad day. It pissed me off severely. Had to stop playing Call of Duty for a while and had to figure out what else was going to be my next step. This is where I found out third-party controllers suck ass. I had somebody take me to GameStop, grabbed as many PS2 titles that I could get rid of that wasn't ones I wanted to keep. And unfortunately, Dirge of Cerberus was one of them, and I feel stupid. Even though it wasn't the best of games, it was still a Final Fantasy VII game, and I loved it. But I got to get rid of it. I took them all up there, and that's when I found out GameStop's trade-in values, it's got to be the worst ratio I've ever seen in my life. That was the moment I realized I'll never want to trade a game in, ever. I had a good chunk of games. And one of my favorites as well I can remember was Samurai Warriors in that, the first one. And it was one of my all-time favorites because I played the hell out of it. And yes, I had to trade it all in just to get a PS3 controller and not an actual controller. I didn't have enough money. I had to buy, I believe it was Mad Catz. It might not even been that. It's been so long ago. But it was this gaudy, see-through, plug-up controller. Now, I thought it'd be pretty cool and pretty easy to use, and I'll take it back, and boom, we're going to have fun. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. I plugged it up. I had to get good with a really bad controller. This is the type of controller you hand to player 2. The little brother. The cousin you don't like. That one friend that comes over and doesn't have a console but only plays yours. That's the controller you let him use. So that's what happened. I had to use it because I didn't have another one. And I kept that one controller on top of my nightstand to remind me never to throw my controller and basically break it, even though I was trying to be gentle with it. Now, even since then, I've tossed controllers and never actually broke them. So this controller, the problem with it was it had these weird angled R2 and L2 buttons. They set at a corner and they were spring loaded. Not a comfortable spring either. You could see them, cheaply made springs, super tough, hard to push. And back then, I believe that was where I would throw my grenades and pretty much your tactical and lethal throws. So it was really hard to get into throwing those that I used for whatever reason. Plus, the analog sticks were absolute trash. Complete ass. They were so small. I played on the highest sensitivity. So those controls, being that tight, really fucked me up. I had to lower everything. I had to make everything different just for this controller to work. And I'm telling you, I started getting really bad at it. And I thought that was my only time I'd have to tear up a controller. Because eventually, I got a job and saved up the money, bought that, and Overlord 2 at the same day around Christmas. So I got me a whole nother controller and actually was able to enjoy it again. And I believe I got a second one later, and I made sure I never broke those. Now, PS4 came out. I had it for a few years. Actually just bought my house. I was roughly 25, and once I got my house moved in, got everything in here, decided to set up my living room as a nerd sanctuary for all my buddies, because we used to game in there all the time. Well, me and another friend, we were doing what we usually do, which is play a game side by side and kind of see who gets to the end first. Almost roughly like playful competition. Now, it wasn't speed running. We weren't trying to beat it in a day. We would just see how far each one of us would get and try to help each other along the way. Some of the most games we would play is Dark Souls, Sekiro, and if you know what Neo is, it was the second time I threw a controller. And this time, it was with malicious intent for it to break. But as soon as it left my hand, I realized, you are a moron and you should not have thrown that controller. Because yes, even though I was making pretty decent money, buying a controller still was not what I wanted to do in my life, especially when they're still so expensive. I usually try not to spend money on controllers. They usually last me for the whole generation of that console until I get a new one. Ironically, except for a PS5, I had to buy new ones because I got stick drift. First time ever. I've never had it before. But anyway, while I was playing the game, it was a boss. I can't remember the boss, but boy, was it eating me up. Loss after loss after loss. Wasting away all my stuff. Never getting that win. Finally, he's almost dead. He's like a sliver health. And he does this wild combo. I make some mistake. I didn't dodge or whatever it was or reflect. I can't even remember. I was just so angry. I just remember seeing red. And being an absolute child for 5 seconds without thought, I screamed, oh, this is such bullshit. Chunked that damn controller. And at the time, I had these old, very old, ancient, antique couches. They had that solid, thick wood. I missed the couch, and that was my whole thing. I was going to throw it at the couch. I missed the couch, all the cushions, and I hit directly on that corner of it, which was solid, thick 1950s wood. Now, it didn't shatter into pieces, thank God. I kind of restrained myself just a little, but it took the whole half and crumbled it up to where it folded in, and that controller you could not hold right. Now, I did have a second controller already, so at this point, I didn't really have to buy one, as I already owned one. But it did leave me with one controller. I tried to fix it and never worked again, so all I did was put some stickers on it from a God of War collectible, and I put it on the wall. But now, I still have to look at that and know, like, the side of it is just pinch strong. From the front, it looks fine. From the side, you can see it's fucked up. So yeah, I had to buy a controller to replace that because I always keep two controllers, so I always have one charged. Those are the 2 times I fucked up real bad, and it cost me a little bit of money, and I really hated it. And yes, pretty much since then, I have not thrown a controller again. If you can, like, share, subscribe, let everybody know about me, and please, y'all have a good one.